code and do things in a more secure fashion.
Exactly. I mean, one of the things is, are they learning about DevOps? Are they learning about the methodologies that are being used today? I always ask if I go to like a B-Sides conference or an InfoSec conference, when's the last time you went to an Agile Scrum ceremony? Have you been to a retrospective planning session? Have you been to any of that to understand how they built the software so you can figure out how you fit in? The other thing is, you know, you don't want to be a function, you want to be a name, right? I don't want to say, I want to go see Alan over in security. It's like, those security guys, I don't really want to talk to them. It needs to be a name with a face. So you really want to build a solid relationship with the people in the development organization such that you can go and talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Pete, what else from the study can we highlight for the audience today?
So there was an overwhelming amount of people that said, I want access to on-demand training. So that's usually e-learning, right?
Right.
And also classroom instruction. So one of the things that I point out to security professionals is don't give them an application security course. Take a look at the results that you're getting from your scans. So if you can baseline your applications, you see the things that they're actually struggling with. So it's a big shock. I'm having a problem with SQL injection. Fill a room with pizzas, and then developers will come and eat the pizza. And you can talk to them for an hour about SQL injection.
Absolutely. And that, you know what, that's why I used to do my channel program. But but that being said, you know, Peter, I lost my train there at fault with all this going on around us. But it's an issue that we need to make them more aware of with it. But it takes two to tango.
Yes.
The security person has to want to let the developer know. And I was recently on a thread on Facebook with friends of mine in the security industry, and I was surprised. I was surprised at the anti-developer kind of sentiment. And you know what? That's not going to win you many friends over there.
Right. And the question is, have they ever developed software? So they might think they're idiots when it comes to security, but how good will they be seen when it's been doing it 20, 25 years if they sat down and started typing code?
Absolutely. And that's why I consider having been involved in DevOps now for 3-4 years. I've had a chance to see how they, you know, I've seen the enemy and it's us.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of that, a lot of evangelizing, a lot of cultural change that needs to happen in the security space as well.
Which is a great point, great time to pivot with the Jenkins World and the panel that we're doing.
Absolutely. So we're here in Jenkins World, and I don't even know, let me see if I could do this, but if I could show you guys a little bit of where we are in Jenkins World, and we're literally in a broadcast booth surrounded on the floor here, and there's about 2,000 people in Jenkins World today, right?
Yes.
I think that's what they said, and I don't know if hopefully this is working. And we're doing a DevSecOps panel tomorrow, and I titled it, it's DevSecOps, it's not you, it's not me, it's we.
Right.
And it really is about spreading the good news of security is everyone's responsibility. And the security people have to recognize that, and if they need, you know, we saw a similar thing in UA. When I first started getting into DevOps, one of the more popular topics that I ran into was QA people scared to death that DevOps was going to be the end of their career.
Right.
And we're going to automate testing, and there'll be no more QA people. It didn't happen now.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, there's still a lot of QA jobs out there in DevOps.
Right.
There's some of that in security too. I think there's a little bit, we have a hard time, you know, letting it through our fingers that control.
White knuckling the release.
Yes, white knuckling the release. Perfect, you know, a perfect thing to describe it. But it's got to happen.
So one of the things I see a lot is people think that DevOps is so different that it's like off the wall, and I have no idea what it's all about. Whereas if they've been doing Agile at all, it's an extension of Agile. It's more of the same in shorter time frames and smaller chunks of work. It's not this big mysterious thing. So I do a lot of talking with InfoSec around demystifying what it means to do DevOps. It's not even that much different than waterfall. It's, I need requirements, what am I going to write, then I write it, then I test it, and then I release it. These things don't change when you go to Agile or when you go to DevOps. It's the same thing, just smaller time scales, smaller amount of work.
Absolutely. And again, bringing it home here to Jenkins World, Pete, we start talking about continuous delivery and pipelines, delivery pipelines and everything. But really, you know what? Building security into these pipelines, into the delivery process is a pretty logical, and I'm not saying I'm the be-all and end-all of how to do security.
Right.
But it's a pretty logical framework for when am I testing code? Right? When does code get checked in? When does it get, is it secure? When are we releasing it? When did I test before release? Can I test right after again? It gives you a framework to plan.
And it's no different. I'm going to run my unit test, and from a static point of view, people often uses code coverage can't decrease.
Yep.
So I'm going to force them to do that. So you think about security just being another logical aspect. Now, arguably, it's only been in the last 3 or 4 years that static analysis has gotten fast enough to put into a pipeline.
Yes.
But the technology is there now. So yesterday, a question was asked by one of the people on stage. Why hasn't security been? It's because the tools weren't ready yet.
No, that's true too. The tools weren't ready, the whole automation thing. But I don't know how much longer you're going to get away with that.
Oh, absolutely. This really comes down to mandate. So if you talk about security wanting to learn dev learning security, so development is not going to until they're measured and compensated based on it. So companies need to get real and say, we believe that security is important. Therefore, we're going to put real money behind it and give you time to learn it.
Absolutely. Peter, if you don't mind, I had a few questions prepared regarding the survey. I'd like to come back to them, though, for our audience out here. So, number one, respondents said that the hardest positions to fill are getting respondents who are all-purpose DevOps gurus or all-purpose DevOps guys. And that they also have to have a foundation in security. What are the specific problems that organizations are trying to solve, with that position, you think? How do we map that?
Yeah, I mean, really, if you think about all the things that a developer is being asked to learn about, right? So you start with being a good developer, so I have to keep up on the latest technologies and frameworks and open source. Then you shift that into quality and being able to write good unit tests and understanding how to functionally test my code. From the security aspect, I'm also being asked to make sure the code is secure. Then we shift into another thing we talked about before, the broadcast, containerization. Now I'm sitting in the space where IT and systems engineering were, where they would rack stack the hardware, they would install the operating system for me, put things like Tomcat and JBoss there, and then we would install on top of that. Now I'm doing that. Yeah. I'm writing a pipeline, and then I'm operating it, and I'm reading the telemetry and trying to debug things in the middle of the night. The amount of things that we're asking developers for is incredible. And the question I got challenged on, as I talk about the full spectrum engineer that we have discussed before, is, well, how much budget are you shifting to each of these things? Because we can't completely neglect any particular area, right? We need it functional. We need the containers to be secure. We need to understand how to operate it. We need to understand security. But all the budget goes to security, and then no one else gets anything. It's like that's the question: is what's the most important thing? How do we staff and budget for that? So as you think about what it takes for a developer that can do these things, no one's going to have it all.
No.
Right? No. If they can get some level of understanding of it on the job, which is another thing that came out in the report, is most people say they learn most of their skills on the job. I certainly did. Yes. I left WPI understanding how to program in Unix and do multi-threaded programming. Then I went to a Windows shop and learned how to write in Windows with the Windows API.
It's like a different world.
Yeah, you just learn it on the job. That's the way people do that. It's learning how to think. So how do you get enough of a background in all this stuff to be competent? So you can't go out there and say, I need someone with all of the skills. Sure.
Because they're coming to it. Peter, let me ask you another question, though. where do you think we're going with those? Do you see, like for instance, do you see an evolutionary sort of path where not only do we get someone who comes out of school with a cybersecurity degree or something like that, but they come out of school with as a cybersecurity major with a focus on security automation or DevSecOps, dare I say,
Yeah.
DevSecOps, as sort of their focus concentration. Is that doable, plausible?
Well, again, if you look where the industry's going, it's getting to the point where everything is code. It's EXC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to be code. So whether that be testing or terraforming your infrastructure or security or what have you, it's all going to be part of that. It's good to have those specialties. So DevOps team, you can't afford these days with a team of 6 to 12 to have a full-time database person or a full-time security person. But what you do want is someone that has a stronger inclination towards security, speak to the problem, help their teammates to understand, and skill up the whole organization. So if I wanted to build a DevOps team today, I'd find someone that's strong in quality, someone that's strong in security, someone that's strong in automation and containerization, and let them work together to teach each other how to do things.
Absolutely. Well, Pete, we're only, believe it or not, on here about 20 minutes. What else do we have on our survey highlights that you wanted to hit on?
So this is the feeling of the developers. A third of them said they're prepared for delivering at DevOps speeds. And that's certainly not surprising when you think that only 10% of organizations are actually doing DevOps across the organizations. Right?
And by the way, that 10% number is one of the higher numbers I've ever seen in a survey.
Right.
Which bodes well. It's close. I've seen 7%, 6%, 8%. So 10% within that realm. Right? But and let's be clear what we're talking about. We're talking about organizations that have fully adopted DevOps, front to back to front, across an entire enterprise. That's a big, 10% is a great number.
I think one of the interesting things to go to the community with and find is what is stopping them from going to DevOps? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it cultural problems? I mean, one of the things that you come across as you and I are out talking about this is people have their fiefdoms. I own the security organization. I don't want to break them up.
Yeah, no, and it's silos. I mean, it's purely cultural. And you would hope that cultural issues like that are something that education can help with.
Right.
But I agree with you. I almost think that we need to create different worlds for people, roles for people.
Right.
And that will help break down these cultural prejudices, if you will.
Yeah, and we go back to those numbers again. 50% felt like they were only somewhat prepared. So the question is, what are you doing about it individually to go after the problem? If you're watching this podcast, that's excellent. So where are you researching? Are you attending like the DevOps Days conferences? If you're a security person, are you attending B-sides? Are you asking for people to give you that?
Your peers.
Right. So one of the things that you've been really engaged with over the last year, and I think that it's really this last year I've seen this huge uptick in having DevOps be part of InfoSec conferences.
Yeah.
Right.
We did it in InfoSec World.
Exactly.
We do it at RSA. I've done it in the past at InfoSec Europe. We did it at RSA APJ in Singapore.
Right. So if you think about them as a little sidecar right now, they're going to become a bigger part of the main tracks of these conferences that you get after this. Right now, it's just like we're dabbling in it, and you'll have like a one day on a Sunday to go and talk about it, and you get 30 people to it, where the conference might have several thousand.
No, well, look, at RSA DevSecOps last year, we had about 1,000.
Yeah.
But that's with the 40,000 people coming to RSA.
Right.
So we get, and again, wider acceptance in the security. And that was something with the survey, Pete, and something that I see personally is not everyone thinks that this is real, that DevOps itself is more than a fancy fad, that DevSecOps is just some kumbaya mumbo jumbo,
right?
But they're not as smart as we are. I love my friends in the security world, but we do relish our otherness.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We're smarter than you. It's us
like
versus
being the
them.
others. Yeah, it's an us versus them, and that's an issue, right? And until we can overcome that, I don't know what the answer is. What else do we have, Pete?
I think we've hit on most of it.
Well, let's talk about this then, if I can.
Sure.
Where can people get information on? We have them both available on download, and I watch TV tonight and look full HD. So if you haven't seen it in HD, full HD on DevOps TV after that.
So I think that one of the things we can also highlight is upcoming on DevOps.com. We're going to actually sit down with some of Veracode's customers to talk about how they've instituted education inside of their enterprise. So if you want a practical, first-hand experience, there's a 2.5 weeks of security training for their developers before they can touch the keyboard.
Really?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's an incredible investment. It really speaks to how much the company values that experience and that need, so that way they're not chasing it down later. It's much more expensive to do later, but nobody wants to pay the cost.
Well, isn't that always the issue, Pete? Right? Everyone's looking for the shortcut. Everyone's looking, to the angle. And then you wind up, sooner or later, you pay the piper. Pay me now or pay me later.
Yeah, so, going back to your comment before about DevOps being a fad, I think that speaks exactly to another topic around, they think DevOps is this new magical thing, right? So getting the education out there that it's really agile but faster, essentially.
You just triggered something else. What's funny, though, is when you look at, let's say, Agile and Scrum, there's literally been millions of people who have taken Scrum training,
right?
Scrum Master training from one institute or organization or another. Yet we see resistance and security. How many people have CISSP,
right?
certs? Millions. Why the resistance, man? In get obviously people see a need for the DevOps. Do they not know where to get it? Do they think? Where's the disconnect?
That's a good question. It's not for lack of resources being available.
No.
Certainly DevOps.com.
The DevOps Institute. There's a ton of places that are offering DevOps training. And people are going for them.
Yes.
But to me, when I see a bunch of people saying we need DevOps training,
yes,
and then I see all these places offering DevOps training, they're not busting at the seams.
Right.
Something doesn't translate there.
Well, I think the security people tend to just get more angry, so that they're not getting.
They dig our heels.
They just get more angry and say the developers aren't doing their thing, and it's not my fault.
Right, and they're never going to smarten up either.
Right.
After all, we are the smartest people here. But Pete, that's a real thing. Anyway, look, I think we are about out of things to talk about with the survey.
I think so.
We are going to try to repeat some of this in our HT thing following. But for now, let me just see what we have. I got to put on my glasses here to see. I don't think we have any questions from the audience. No? Anything in our chat? Okay. And then also, again, I really hope this is coming out with people. We don't know. We're on this side of the camera.
Right.
But everyone will be getting an email with a link to both the survey and this recording going forward. And, of course, we'll have the HD one up as well.
Excellent.
Sound good?
Excellent.
All right. All right. So, everyone, this is Alan Shimel, and this is
Pete Chestna.
Veracode, DevOps.com, live at Jenkins World, on the floor here, and we'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye, everyone.